18 Champions League games on at the same time for the final game week. And if you think that I'm going to provide predictions and insights and betting data for every single game, then you're absolutely correct. Yes, welcome back to the channel, the prediction show here from oddalerts.com. We're going to take a look at every single game that's being played, and they're all being played at the same time on Wednesday, of course. First, let's take a look at the table. We can just see and confirm 1st to 8th automatically in the round of 16. 9th until 24th, as we keep going here, we'll go into a two-legged playoff, and then 25th to 36th. You do not want to be there at the end of Wednesday night. You will be eliminated, and you no longer, of course, since the new format came in, you no longer go into the Europa League. You are eliminated from European competition. Just look at how many teams there are on 13 points. The 13-point bottleneck. It is extraordinary. 8 teams fighting for potentially just 3 automatic spots. It is going to be some night of football. So here's a look at the fixtures. I'm just going to show you the fixtures there as I explain what we are going to do in this video. We're going to look at every single game. I'm going to give you the data, some insights, any value plays, if there are any, based on our probability model. And then after every 4th game, I'm going to show you how I found this data, how you can do it yourself, or I'm going to just show you an interesting tool that you can use to find Champions League predictions, player props, that kind of thing. So after every 4th game, just to break it up a little bit so it doesn't get too boring, because there is a lot of games, a lot of data, a lot of numbers to get through. So some very tasty fixtures there, as we've just seen. Now let's start with Ajax against Olympiacos. So Ajax against Olympiacos, this is 32nd. Ajax are 32nd, not the best season for them. They've got 6 points, negative 12 goal difference in the Champions League, and they are playing Olympiacos, who are 24th with 8 points, just a couple more, and also a negative goal difference. Both teams need results to stay alive. Ajax must win to have any hope given their brutal goal difference. Olympiacos need 3 points to feel safe in that playoff spot, so plenty to play for in this game. What does the data say? Olympiacos have been defensively superb, just 5 goals conceded and 7 clean sheets in their last 10 games. Ajax are the polar opposite. 28 goals scored, but 17 conceded, with 7 of their last 10 games producing 4 or more goals. That's the sort of stat we like to see. The value pick for this one is an Olympiacos win with the model. It is 2.41, so not that high really for an away win in the Champions League. Olympiacos, of course, the better ranked team, and with so much on the line for Ajax, the book is expecting them to get the job done, or at least not lose this game. 2.41 is a narrow value bet, 3.7% edge with the model. The Greeks' resilience against Ajax's leaky defence makes the away win a potential smart play. Also consider BTTS no, given this strong defence. Olympiacos are very, very good at keeping clean sheets in their own country, and they have done it in Europe this season as well. Let us all know as we go through these games what you think about this game in the comments. 3 more games, and then we're going to get a prediction that includes something from those games. So now the next game we're going to check out is Liverpool against Qarabag. Liverpool against Qarabag should be an interesting game, especially with Liverpool coming off the back of that defeat. They've been a bit different in Europe, Liverpool. They've been much better, but there's no doubt Arne Slot is under pressure, especially with Xabi Alonso now out of the job. He would be a perfect replacement, wouldn't he? There is a perfect replacement waiting there if things do get worse, but you would expect Liverpool to win this game, and quite comfortably. Qarabag are 18th compared to Liverpool, who are 4th. Qarabag quite comfortable. Even if they lose, you would expect them to still remain in that playoff spot. Qarabag have actually scored in 9 of their last 10 games, and they average 2.3 goals per game. BTTS also landing in 8 of 10 games, so even though they're dominant in their own country, they are still conceding goals across all games and all competitions. BTTS in 8 of the last 10. I guess the question for this one, Can they score? Will they come and park the bus, or will they come and have a go, knowing they are more than likely still going to get that playoff spot? There are a few value plays for this one. BTTS, yes, at 2.08. That is a 13% edge with our model, simply because Qarabag score everywhere. Under 2.5 goals as well. This is a huge value bet, 35% value. The market may be overpricing a goal fest. And the draw is a huge value bet at 103 edge. Massive edge if you believe Qarabag can continue to frustrate Liverpool, as teams have recently. Liverpool have had quite a few draws in that unbeaten stretch that just ended with defeat at Bournemouth. It's not really gone to plan in the Champions League for Jose and Benfica. They're doing fantastic in the league. He hasn't lost a game since being appointed. 29th in the Champions League, and they are hosting Real Madrid, who are third. This should be a cracking game. Jose Mourinho will know how to set his team up for this game. They're going to be very hard to beat. Benfica's season is on the line. Only a win will keep them alive. Madrid just need to avoid defeat to secure a top 8 finish. Now, Benfica are defending well at the moment. They've conceded just 9 goals and kept 5 clean sheets in their last 10 games. But they're facing a Madrid side that scored 28 in the last 10. That is, of course, 2.8 goals per game on average, and they have scored in each of their last 10 games. You would expect them to score against this Benfica side, who have had one of the toughest Champions League runs in a long time. Let's just take a quick look at their fixtures in the Champions League so far. You can see their really tough run. Tough opponent after tough opponent, really. Look at the draw, I guess. The value play, you might have guessed it, is a Benfica win at 4.75. That is 94% value given our implied odds from our probability model. Can Benfica get a surprise victory to keep their season alive? It's going to be rocking in there. Jose is going to really know how to gear his players up for this game against his former team. Will they be playing for him in this game? If so, I give them a chance, maybe a double chance. Let's see what we put on our selections in a moment. The model is giving Benfica a 41% win probability. They are a good home team, Benfica, nearly double what the odds of the bookmaker imply. Madrid's recent away form reads 6 wins, 2 draws and 2 defeats. It should be a little bit closer than the market is suggesting, especially given what is on the line for Benfica in this one. Also, you could consider under 2.5 goals at 2.5. That carries a small edge as well with our probability model. This is if you believe Benfica and Jose and the defence truly shows up in this one and makes things very tight. Okay, another game, and then we are going to put some predictions and show you some tools. Final game before we take a break and make some predictions. Borussia Dortmund against Inter Milan. On paper, this could be a superb game, but I fear there may be a bit of rotation and it could be a bit cagey, or it could go the other way. There could be rotation and it could be a goal fest, because both of these teams are guaranteed a playoff spot. They can't go out, and they could go up, but if you're looking at the odds for them to get into the top 8, just so you know, Dortmund 125-1 and Inter 14-1. So that gives you a glimpse into the realistic probability that they push for that top 8. Inter are relentless. They have 19.2 shots per game, 2.32 XG per game. At the moment, this is across the last 10 games. But Dortmund are superb at home this season. They are absolutely superb. 5 clean sheets in the last 10 and doing so well in Germany this season. They could absorb the pressure of Inter Milan, or as I say, this game could go one way and it could just flood with goals. The value pick, as you might have expected, which I absolutely love, is Dortmund to win at 3.05. If we do see a rotated Inter Milan team who are content with getting in the Champions League via the playoffs, just as PSG did last season, by the way. PSG went on to win the Champions League. Liverpool were fantastic in the group stages, went out the first stage, wasn't it? So this new format has shown that actually finishing in the playoff spot is not always a bad thing. Dortmund to win at 3.05. It is 20.4% value with our model. I think that is a sensational pick for tonight. Even double chance Dortmund to get a draw or a victory. And under 2.5 goals is the other selection from the model, which I think are both very, very good picks. Let me know what you're thinking about this game. With nothing meaningful potentially on the line for both of these teams, as I mentioned, I think it could go either way. A lot of clean sheets for both of these teams in recent times, so that's where the data comes from for under 2.5 goals, especially given that there could be heavy rotation. With all of that, let's now go and put together our first selection. So here is the first selection after part one. We looked at 4 games. I've taken the insights from Borussia Dortmund and, of course, the Benfica Madrid game under 4 goals at 1.66. I think the odds are pretty good there, given that I think this could potentially be a bit of a throwback Jose Mourinho performance against his former team. That's what I'm going for anyway. Let me know, of course, what you think in the comments. Love to read your predictions in the comments. Get them in. And Dortmund to continue their fine form at home this season against an Inter Milan team that could very well rotate in this fixture, 1.53. Let me know what you think of those, because now we are going to check out a tool that you can use on your own to find data and insights just like this. And then we're going to get to part 2, and the first game we're going to cover in part 2 is Arsenal at home. So without further ado, let's get to the next section. So a lot of the data points that I've been using for my research come from this tool. We're going to show you a couple more tools in this video, but the first one is the Football Form Guide. I'll just show you the Premier League here. We are looking at the Premier League. It's the default league that is selected. You can change the league. You can see we've got Bundesliga, Serie A, Championship, Champions League, Conference League, Bundesliga 2. We've got a lot of competitions in here. My head is covering a lot of them, I know. We're looking at the last 6 games overall by default. What we can do is, let's say the last 30 games, shall we? And then we click on that. It'll load instantly, and then you can go in and select all of your data, and we have a brand new UI for actually selecting your data. So if we look at XG, we can then just go and see team with the most XG. We can see Arsenal in 27 of the last 30 games have won the XG battle. That is actually very, very impressive. Let's see XG4 per game. Again, it's Arsenal 2.17. Leeds United 1.89. Of course, we're looking at last 30 games, so some of these will overlap with the Championship. Let's take a look at one more, shall we? Let's have a look at who is conceding. No, let's look at a fun market, shall we, like BTTS. Manchester United, 22 games of the last 30 have ended with BTTS. Of course, the Manchester derby ended BTTS, didn't it? Burnley as well, 20 out of 30. Chelsea, and West Ham, who play each other next. Interesting insight. Maybe I'll cover that one on the Premier League predictions video, which is coming this weekend. As always, guys, if you like the videos, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and gives me motivation to actually keep recording videos. So this is the Football Form Guide. This will be linked in the description if you want to check this out. Of course, you can view the Champions League data in this way as well. This was the Premier League if you want to give it a go this weekend. And yeah, now let's crack on with the rest of the Champions League video. Arsenal against Qarabag could be the most meaningless game of the night. Arsenal are top, likely to finish top. They're not going to lose this game, are they? Qarabag are 31st, and they are eliminated already. A draw gets Arsenal the title for sure. It's a dead rubber of a game. Arsenal are going to rotate. You'd probably expect players like Madueke to play, Norgard, a few others rotated in there, in defence especially, and in net for Arsenal. Arsenal are going to dominate this game. There's not really much more I can say. There are some value plays, under 2.5 goals at 5.2. I think that is a huge value bet. There is also a bit of data that suggests second half goals as well. 6 of Arsenal's last 10 games saw most goals after the break. Their games averaged 2.2 second half goals versus 1.2 in the first half in recent times. So Arsenal to score maybe a couple of goals in the second half, but under 2.5 goals at 5.2 is actually going to be my pick, my value pick for this game. Arsenal could just go and win 2-0. Just keep the ball, make it a bit of a training exercise. I could see that happening for sure. Let's check out the next game. Next up is Pafos FC in their debut season in the Champions League. They are 30th. They need a win to stay alive. Slavia Praha are already eliminated, so a home victory could be on the cards here. They're not a bad team, to be honest. They looked all right against Chelsea recently. They can frustrate teams, but maybe just don't have enough going forward. What does the data say? Well, Slavia Praha have scored in the last 5 games. They average 15.1 shots, but Pafos are very, very good at home. 7 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat in the last 10 games, with 5 clean sheets. The value pick is an away win, but I would be going against the probability model there if I was to make a selection on this game, just because of the jeopardy, of course. The form of Slavia Praha is not bad. The model is giving them a decent chance of causing some pain for Pafos, given that they need a victory in this game. So they could go and spoil the potential party, shall we say. There is also a timing angle on this one, just as there was in the Arsenal game. Pafos' game average 1.8 goals in the second half versus 0.9 in the first half, with 47% of their goals coming after 70 minutes. The highest scoring half to be the second half at 2.11 is also a good option. Another potentially great game here, PSV against Bayern Munich, 2 teams that are scoring so many goals at the moment. PSV need a result, be that a win or a draw, to secure a playoff spot. Bayern have already qualified and can only win if Arsenal lose, which is not going to happen. So Bayern are comfortable, maybe will rotate as well. They lost recently in the Bundesliga, didn't they? So maybe Company will want them to play this game to get their form back against a good team in PSV. The data says that both teams are prolific, which is absolutely correct. PSV 26 goals in the last 10 games, Bayern 38 goals in that same period, plus 30 goal difference, over 2.5 in 9 of their last 10 games. There could be a lot of goals in this one. And the value play is a PSV draw or victory. So PSV double chance, because Bayern's title hopes are dependent on Arsenal losing, which is not going to happen. So rotation is expected for Bayern Munich, but rotation for Bayern Munich still means there is going to be real quality on the pitch. PSV are also desperate. So again, jeopardy plays into this and plays into the double chance for PSV. If you are interested in the PSV win outright, it is 5.4, which is pretty nice. Also, if Bayern do rest and it becomes a bit of a more cagey game, under 2.5 goals at 3.63 is also a value bet with 7.4% value on our model. There is also a slight corners play for this game. PSV games average 11.8 corners per game. Over 9.5 corners has landed in 8 of the last 10. Over 9.5 corners is at 1.8 currently. So that could be another option for this game as well. The corners, that looks the safest angle because, of course, we are unsure on the motivation of Bayern Munich going into this game. Vincent Kompany could rest and rotate and just know that they are secure in that playoff spot, or he could make them go out there and put in a performance because of recent losses in the Bundesliga. One more game, and it's a big one for Thomas Frank, and then we will take another break. Thomas Frank is away from home at Frankfurt. Eintracht Frankfurt already eliminated. Very disappointing season for them. Tottenham, talk about disappointing seasons. They're doing all right in the Champions League, but in the Premier League, they just cannot catch a break. Really, really poor run of form at the moment for Thomas Frank, and I think if they were to drop out of this automatic spot, I think there would be real pressure, especially given how poor Frankfurt have been. Spurs winning guarantees them a top 8 finish. Frankfurt are leaky, which will excite Tottenham, who, as I say, have been good in the Champions League. 25 goals conceded in the last 10 games, negative 10 goal difference across that period, but they are still scoring plenty of goals. They've scored in 9 of their last 10 games and 8 in a row. Spurs have conceded 15 goals in their last 10 games. Now, if you think the misery is going to continue, there is a big value play at 38%. Now, again, there is a timing play thanks to the data on odd alerts here. 8 of Frankfurt's last 10 have seen most goals being scored in the second half, 2.5 goals per game in the second half on average compared to 1.5 before. So still plenty of goals in the first half on average as well. There's just plenty of goals in their games recently. 40% of goals have come after 70 minutes as well. The highest scoring half, again, at 2.04, is a decent opportunity. And again, these games can be quite edgy because they don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to go behind. It's almost like a bit of a knockout game. So that is Tottenham against Frankfurt. What we're going to do is jump back to Bet365, put together a selection based on the 4 games we just looked at. Let me know what you're thinking as well in the comments. And then I'm going to show you a super tool for automatically generating bet slips. So I am going with the value play here mixed with a little bit of the data from the second half of Frankfurt's game. So Tottenham to score in the second half, 1.5. I thought that was pretty generous. And PSV to draw or win. That is doing much of the heavy lifting in this second slip. Of course, it is a value play. PSV to win or draw. I think they are capable on their day of scoring plenty of goals. They've had injuries in recent weeks, haven't they? In recent game weeks, of the Champions League, but hopefully they are back and fit and firing for what is a huge game for them. 3.45 here. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. This is our second tool that I'm going to show you. It's called the Bet Slip Generator. Again, link in the description if you want to check it out. We're going to say target odds of 2, item per slip 2, so it's a double. And odds per item, we're going to say minimum of 1.2 odds and 3 odds, just so we get a good set of games. Let's go next 72 hours for the games. Competitions, you can narrow this down to the Champions League if you want to. We're going to keep it open, see what we get. We'll sort the selections. It gives you 10 bet slips back, by the way. Value bets only, we're going to toggle that off, exclude friendly games, and then you can adjust the probability model that has been providing value bets for over 5 years now on odd alerts. That is what you are tweaking here. You can see I've got over 1.5 goals set, and that's all I've got set. So let's add a few more. Let's add BTTS. Let's also add in home goals and away goals. So the home team and the away team to simply score a goal. I really do like that market, and it's proven very good in recent months when value betting. So let's hit get, see what we get, and we do get some games. We were targeting odds of around 2.1, weren't we? Let me just check. Oh, we were looking at odds of 2. So let's actually bump that up to 2.5. We hit run again, and we get 2.88 now, and we've got an over 1.5 goals double, and it is a South American double, and I'm recording this on Tuesday, so if you're watching this on Tuesday, you can take a look at this. 33% value there. If you select value bets only, you will only get value bets, but as we can see, it's finding value bets anyway because we're sorting by the odds. What you can also do is sort by probability. We hit run again, and you can see we now have different games. We've got games here as well from England, Port Vale, Wimbledon to get a goal away, and then a home goal for Sao Paulo, which is the first game of the Serie A Brazilian season. So Sao Paulo to score at home in the opening weekend, 1.53. What a find. Would you have found that without a tool like this? The Bet Slip Generator, link in the description. Now let's get back to the rest of the games. Club Brugge against Marseille. Marseille were pretty disappointing against Liverpool, weren't they? They are 19th as things stand. Club Brugge 27th. Club Brugge must win to have any playoff hope, whilst Marseille will qualify with a win. A draw is likely as well, given that they've got a better goal difference with those other teams that are also on 9 points. They've got a 0 goal difference, but there's teams with negative, obviously. These two have combined for 55 goals in their last 20 games. 26 for Club Brugge and 29 for Marseille. That's the last 10 games for both teams. Both are attack-first teams who also leak at the back. That is kind of what every football fan wants to see when they go and watch a game of football, isn't it? The value picks, quite surprisingly, over 2.5 goals at 1.57 is a value pick. Even at low odds, our model is really expecting goals when these two teams come together. Over 3.5 goals, even more value, 17.2% value, over 2.3 odds for over 3.5 goals. It has happened in 7 of the last 10 for Club Brugge and 6 of the last 10 for Marseille. BTTS at 1.49 is also a marginal value bet, but it also, for me, just shows that the bookies are expecting both teams to score in this game. They're expecting a very open game where both teams need and want the win. This is a good game in a list of games where some are a bit of a dead rubber. Now, Monaco against Juventus. Monaco with a negative goal difference, -6. Juventus 15th in the competition, 12 points and +4 goal difference. Monaco win or draw guarantees them a playoff spot. A draw will probably be okay and they'll probably take it. Juventus need a win if they want to get in the top 8, and there is a slim chance that they could get in the top 8. What is the data saying? Well, Juventus have been elite defensively, just 3 goals conceded and 7 clean sheets in the last 10 games. Monaco have conceded 16 in the same time and they are winless in the last 3 games with 9 goals conceded in those 3 games. So I think this is a very good value pick here from the model. Juventus to win at over evens, 2.12. That is a very, very generous price, I think, for a team that just doesn't concede many goals at all. Another angle is BTTS no. I know a lot of you will not like betting on BTTS no, but it has only landed BTTS in 2 of Juventus's last 10 games. They are very, very good at the moment at not conceding goals. And BTTS no is at 2.24 as well. And again, we have some timing data for these teams. Both teams averaging a lot more goals in the second half. Monaco 1.8 versus 0.8. Juve 1.7 versus 0.7. So Juve's games in general a little bit low scoring at the moment. Maybe a cagey 45 minutes in this one before the game eventually opens up and Juventus get that winner. Let me know what you think in the comments about this one. Can the old lady make it in to the top 8? Union Saint-Gilloise against Atalanta, 31st with 6 points. It is quite unlikely that they get a playoff space. They started the season well, didn't they, in the Champions League, but they must win. They've had a tough run. Atalanta need a win to get into the top 8, although they're probably going to be quite happy just settling for a playoff spot. So again, this one could be a bit more onus on the home team to get the ball and make something happen in the game. What does the data say? Union are underrated. They are 6-1-3 at home in terms of their record. They have scored in 8 of the last 10 and only conceded 9 goals. The model gives them a 40% chance of winning this game. And the value pick from the model with 32% value is a win for the home side at 3.3. Interesting pick. Again, Atalanta, it's how teams approach these games. What is their headspace? They might be very, very comfortable with a playoff spot. Now, again, we have timing data that has been brought up here by Odd Alerts. 42% of Union's goals and 47% of Atalanta's goals come after 70 minutes. Both teams see more goals after the second half. Highest scoring half is over evens and is a suggested selection as well. So next we're going to take a look at Athletic Bilbao against Sporting. Next up, Athletic Bilbao against Sporting. We'll take a look at this game, make some predictions, and then show you another tool which I think you're going to really like. The next tool, it is AI football predictions. But first, let's take a look at this game. 23rd placed Athletic Bilbao. They've got a poor goal difference, so they likely need a victory to secure that playoff spot. They need to pick up some points here, because if teams below them with better goal difference do pick up points, they could be in trouble. Sporting are one of those teams on 13 points, but they have a very good goal difference, +5. So they realistically need to get a win here, because there's a lot of very good teams on 13 points that you would expect to pick up points as well. The data for this one suggests there is a gulf in form, especially scoring goals. Sporting, 27 goals in their last 10 games. They've scored in all 10 games, of course, +16 goal difference. Bilbao have shipped 2 goals per game on average across the same period and are conceding above their expected goals against. So they're conceding goals that maybe they shouldn't be. The value pick here, which I actually quite like, is Sporting to win at 3.21. Again, a double chance might be an interesting thing to pair with something else as a double. The model is giving Sporting a 50.8% win probability. That is a massive edge over the implied probability of 31%. There's also a cards play here and some card data that is actually quite unbelievable. I had to double check it, but it is absolutely correct, provided by oddleralerts.com and provided by the tool we're going to show you after we have told you this stat. So Athletic Bilbao have seen over 4.5 cards in 6 of the last 10 games and 2 red cards in that period, and Sporting averaging 5.2 cards across the same period with a red card in 5 of their last 10 games. That is not false. I had to double check. I thought there must be an error with the data. It's not. There has been a red card in 7 of the last 20 games for Sporting. Calm down, lads. I had a look, to be fair, it's not always them. There was 2 red cards when they played Santa Clara. Benfica, there was a red card. Again, they played Santa Clara and there was a red card. Red card for Vitoria, red card for them against Gil Vicente, red card against Casapia, and obviously multiple red cards in some of those games. So, crazy, but card markets could be an option for a team that seemingly are getting a lot of cards, both teams in recent times. Next up is Napoli against Chelsea, but first, let's check out another tool. This is our AI football predictions page, one of our latest tools. We can see we are looking at the EFL Championship page here. You can zone in to many leagues. We're just going to show you the Championship here as an example. And we can see we've got Derby away at Bristol City, and the featured insight here is Derby's 10-game scoring streak against City's solid home back line. Derby have scored in 10 out of 10 recent games and 7 out of 10 first halves recently, so that's interesting. You can go down and just look at the different analysis. What you can do also is click Show More, and it will show you all 5 insights. So we've got insights here for Sheffield Wednesday against Wrexham. Sheffield Wednesday have scored just 4 goals in their last 10 games and failed to net in 7 of them, whilst Wrexham have hit 19 in the same period. So it just gives you good insights that are pretty actionable as well, lets you understand the games that you are potentially going to bet on. Wednesday are 0, 3 and 7 in their last 10 at home, losing by 2+ goals in 6 of them. It just summarises things perfectly, and it also mixes it with the probability model, as you can see here, and offers value betting opportunities and just offers opportunities for you as well, and nice insights. Wrexham hot at home, cooled away. Nice headline, AI. Wrexham's 19 goals in 10 overall contrasts sharply with just 0.8 goals per game across their last 10 away. So it's comparing different form as well. It's really, really smart, and it's getting better all the time. It's actually trained on a lot of these videos, the previous videos where I look through the data and talk about stats and stuff. That's how it knows what to kind of look for, which I thought was the best way to do it. So that is the AI football predictions. Again, that is linked in the description. Now let's put together a selection for the games that we just looked at. Here we go then, the 3rd out of 4 selections using the games we just analysed. Draw or Sporting Lisbon away at Bilbao, and of course the model really thinks that Union are underrated, so BTTS for them to get a goal, Atalanta to hit back. Because Atalanta, they have got something to play for in this game as well. 2.61. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. If you want to extend this, I would recommend adding Juventus to win the game. They are over evens to win away from home. I'm going to take it as a single, but I thought a single, showing you a single here, wouldn't be as exciting, would it? Now on to Chelsea, Liam Rosigne, big game for him, probably the biggest game so far. Certainly one with the most jeopardy and importance. It is a away fixture at Napoli, who just so happen to be managed by Conte. Napoli are 25th with a -5 goal difference, so not doing great. They need a win to feel safe in the playoffs, so it does set up this game quite nicely, really. Chelsea need a win for any top 8 chance because of the teams behind them. They've got a good goal difference, of course. They are one of those teams on 13 points. What does the data say? Well, we know Napoli don't lose many home games. They are very, very good at home. In the last 10, they are unbeaten, just 0.5 goals conceded. They've not lost at home I think, since December 2024. Many clean sheets during that time as well. Chelsea have scored in 10 of the last 10 games. They're averaging 2 goals per game, 2.15 XG per game. But I don't think they win this game, Chelsea. I watched Chelsea against Pafos. I've watched them against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace gave them a lot of opportunities that Napoli will not. Pafos were actually very well structured and hard to break down. They got there eventually, but it wasn't a great team goal or anything. Napoli to win at 3.05 seems very good value, and it also leans me towards draw no bet or double chance again. 17% value on Napoli to win this game. Under 2.5 goals is also a value bet at over evens, and that is because only 3 of Napoli's last 10 home games, and the sort of ratio is the same if you keep going back across their home games, only 3 of the last 10 have ended with over 2.5 goals. Chelsea's open style inflates the market's expectations. Under 2.5 goals at 2.12, as I just mentioned, and of course second half goals. Again, 2.2 goals in the second half in recent times for Chelsea compared to 1.2 in the first half. That is across the last 10. 35% of goals coming after 70 minutes for Chelsea as well. Highest scoring half, again, over evens. It is a nice market if you can find the games for it. And I'll show you in the next section how you can find games for it very easily. But first, let's finish off this Champions League video because that is Napoli-Chelsea. Next, we're going to go to Bayer Leverkusen against Villarreal. Villarreal, who are already eliminated with just 1 point. What a terrible run they have been on. And Bayer Leverkusen, they need to win, and I think they will win this game. What does the data say? They need to win because they're 20th, by the way, with 9 points, -4 goal difference as well. So they don't want to be looking over their shoulder if they draw or lose this game. Both teams are out of form. Leverkusen, 4 wins, 1 draw, and 5 defeats. In the last 10, Villarreal, 3 wins, 1 draw, and 6 defeats. Each of these teams has failed to score in 3 of their last 10 games. The value pick, as you may expect, is a Villarreal win, but the model, I am going to disagree with it in this instance because of the jeopardy, because of what it means to win this game for Bayer Leverkusen. Again, we are getting data from Odd Alerts about corners for this game. Leverkusen win 6.5 corners per game, over 9.5 corners in 8 of their last 10 fixtures. Villarreal games average 11.1 corners. Over 10.5 corners is 1.67, so that is if you don't want to pick a winner for this game. I think I will. We'll check out the odds in a moment when we jump to Bet365, but I think Leverkusen to win this game looks a pretty safe play. Next up, we have the game of the night. Sorry for making you wait for this one. It is PSG against Newcastle, 6 against 7th, both on 13 points. Identical records, identical goal difference. The winner is guaranteed a top 8 finish. The loser could make it anyway, given their goal difference, which is interesting because they both have plus 10 goal difference. What does the data say? PSG's home defence is elite, 0.62 expected goals against, 4 clean sheets in the last 10. Newcastle have failed to score in 4 of the last 10, and they've lost 2-0 3 times in the last 10 games as well. So the value bets here are BTTS no at 2.38 and a Newcastle win at 5.33. The in-play angle, which is something we've got here from Odd Alerts as well. As other results come in, both teams may realise a draw puts them both through. Watch for late game tempo changes if the situation becomes apparent. So that is a interesting insight there from Odd Alerts. Very interesting. And we're also seeing some corner data come through here as well. Both teams averaging 6.5 corners and beat opponents on corners in 8 of their last 10. So they won the corner match in 8 of their last 10 games. Both teams making use of corners as they can. Over 10.5 corners is at 1.63, so the bookies are expecting corners as well. And Asian lines over 10 corners at 1.9 is pretty good. You get your money back if there is 10 corners. So we now move to Manchester. Manchester City against Galatasaray. A City win is needed for a top 8 finish. They are one of those teams, one of those many teams on 13 points. Galatasaray comfy even a loss, and they are still through, it seems. What does the data say? City's home record is strong, of course, but Galatasaray arrive in form. They've scored in 8 of their last 10 games, and they have 6 wins, 2 draws, and 2 defeats in the last 10. The value play here is a draw at 7.8, 72% value, and also under 2.5 goals at 3.77. Again, we just don't know what type of performance we're going to see from Galatasaray. Manchester City, though, you could expect better performances now that they have Mark Gahey signed. They're getting a few players back. Rodri's finding his feet a little bit now. Haaland was rested, maybe for this game. And City winning is something that I would not look past in this one. Just 2 more games to go. Barcelona against Copenhagen, 9th hosting 26. Barca need a win and help for the top 8, whilst Copenhagen need a win to feel safe in the playoffs because their goal difference is not great. Barcelona at home dominate, 9 wins, 0 draws, and just 1 loss in the last 10. Only 6 goals conceded, 7 clean sheets in that time, 26 goals scored, by the way. They're averaging 3.4 goals per game at home, and Copenhagen have conceded 18 goals in 10. They are shipping 2.3 goals per game away from home. There is value here, of course. Under 2.5 goals with the model is the pick. Copenhagen win. It's highly, highly unlikely, but it is, of course, a value bet. And corner domination is what's been flagged by Odd Alerts AI here as well. Barca's game averaged 12.1 corners, over 9.5 landing in 9 out of 10 games, over 10.5 in 8 out of 10 games. Total corners over 10.5 is odds between 1.7 and evens is a decent pick, it seems. Now the final game, Atletico Madrid against Bodo Glimt, 12th against 28th. Even after that superb win against Manchester City, Bodo Glimt must win to have any playoff hope. Atletico Madrid, much like Barcelona, need help. They are on 13 points, another one of those teams on 13 points, just a +3 goal difference though. What does the data say? Atletico's home fortress, 9 wins, 0 draws and just 1 defeat recently, 0.6 goals conceded. This is the Atletico Madrid that we know and love, isn't it? 5 clean sheets across that period as well. Bodo Glimt are in incredible form, 2.8 goals per game, 8 straight with a goal, over 2.5 goals in 9 of 10 and 4+ goals in 8 out of 10, so 2 contrasting styles, definitely. The value play is, of course, Bodo to win. A draw at 7s could be an interesting single, certainly one worth taking, I think. Bodo Glimt, when I've watched them, they are hot and cold, but when they're hot, they are a very, very exciting team to watch, really they are. Under 2.5 goals, if you think the game will go the other way, is at 3.75. We've got an elite defence against a prolific attack, and under 2.5 goals is at 3.75. Who are you favouring? Are you favouring the elite defence or the attack of the Norwegian champions? Because, you know, Simeone's Atletico Madrid are probably a much better team. They are a much better team, let's be honest. Under 2.5 goals at 3.75, I think that is a fantastic pick. 63% value there. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Let's take a look and put together some predictions using all of those games. More to pick from because we, piled them all into the last section because this video is just crazy long. Let's have a look at what it is. So this is what I've gone for. I've reduced the risk ever so slightly, but it is still value. Under 4 goals is over evens. This is mental because we know that Atletico Madrid can get a 1-0 victory against anybody, even in a team as attacking as Bodo Glimt. So I think those odds are absolutely very, very generous. Let me know what you think in the comments. Napoli or draw against Chelsea. Look, Liam Rosenior, it's going to be some result if he can go there and beat Napoli at Napoli, because many teams do not. Many of the best teams in Italy do not go and win there. And Chelsea, I think they're playing okay now. They're playing better. They seem to have a bit more confidence using players in different positions. Enzo is a number 10 recently. Cole Palmer doesn't look to be coming back into the team at the moment. Napoli to win or draw 1.61. This is 3.39. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Now we're going to check out the final tool of the day. and do a bit of an outro and look at some of the fixtures. So thank you if you're still watching at this point, Jesus. So the final tool that we'll look at, again, link in the description, is the trends pages, and we are looking at half with most goals. And you can see that there's plenty of teams with 100% records. If you want to see teams that are playing in the next 24 hours only, you can do that, and we get games with odds. Not all games will have odds for these markets as well, because it's not necessarily a niche market, but obscure leagues, they don't seem to add it. Sheffield Wednesday under 21s in the PDL. Got Luton Town here. 9 out of their 13 away games have seen more goals being scored in the second half. They're playing, as I record this, on Tuesday night. Let me just move this up for you so we can see. It gives you a bit more data on the teams, and then you can go and view the full fixture and check out all the data so that you can correctly make your decision. Okay, let's just jump back to the Champions League fixtures and do a bit of an outro. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'm going to end by just doing a little bit of a score prediction for every single game, or just a general prediction. Man City against Galatasaray. I think Man City will get a comfortable victory there. Let's go 2-0. Atletico Madrid against Bodo Glimt. I'm actually going to go 1-1 because I do think Bodo can score in that game, but Atletico Madrid, they'll be comfortable, won't they? Let's be honest, they'll be comfortable. Arsenal against Qarabag. 4-0, most goals in the second half. Monaco against Juventus, I think a 2-0 Juventus win. Again, late goals potentially. Benfica against Real Madrid, I think this could be an edgy, tight game. Benfica need a win, as we know. Let's go 2-1 to Madrid. Sorry, Jose, but your Champions League run this year is over. Dortmund against Inter Milan, I'm going to go with a Dortmund victory there. 2-0. to Dortmund. I know that's a bit of a surprise, but Inter Milan could be rotating in this one. Club Brugge against Marseille. I think Marseille will turn it on in this game. 3-1. Frankfurt against Thomas Frank. This is tough to call. I'm going to go 3-1 again to Tottenham. They've got to come good at some point, haven't they, right? Olympiacos away at Ajax. I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory to the home side. Barcelona, Copenhagen, let's go 3-0 Barcelona, nice and easy. Leverkusen 2, Villarreal 0, Athletic Club 1, Sporting 2, Liverpool 4, Qarabag 0, Napoli 2, Chelsea 1, Pafos 1, Slavia Praha 0, PSV 3, Bayern Munich 2, another shock, I know, but they're more than capable, PSV, they are. PSG 2, Newcastle 1 or 0. 1 or 0, depends who starts. If Walter starts, they've got a chance. If Visa starts, I mean, he's been absolutely shocking, hasn't he? Union 1, Atalanta 0. Going to give them a victory, Union. There we go, Champions League done and dusted for a couple of months or whatever it is. Long video, hope you've appreciated it. If you have, please like, subscribe, because this one took a long time to prepare. Thank you.